What would you do if the person you loved more than anything betrayed you? It's a question Michael never thought he'd have to answer. For Michael, life was perfect. He thought he'd found the one, the girl of his dreams. They had a love that seemed unbreakable, a future that felt guaranteed. But everything changed when he discovered the painful truth. She'd been seeing someone else behind his back. In one moment, his world shattered. His heart was broken. The trust he had so freely given was gone. And like anyone reeling from betrayal, Michael was left wondering why. In his desperation, Michael spiraled. What was once a bright, optimistic man became someone else, someone who no longer believed in love. But how does a good man become a player? How does he move from heartbreak to a life of fleeting flings and closed-off emotions? This story dives deep into his dark transformation. It's a journey through heartbreak, deception, and the painful steps that led Michael to lock his heart away. The choice to protect yourself can lead to a dangerous path, one where vulnerability feels like a threat and trust feels impossible. In the end, we're left wondering, how many times can a heart be broken before it closes off completely? This is Michael's story, a cautionary tale of love, loss, and the chilling consequences of a heart turned cold. Stay tuned, because this story will pull you deep into the highs and lows of love gone wrong. Michael sat alone at his desk, lost in the flicker of memories. It was those small moments that haunted him. The laughter, the warmth in her eyes when they reconnected, it all felt like a lifetime ago. He stared at their photo, taken 2 years ago, back when forever felt real and love was easy. It all started in high school. Michael was just another guy in the crowd, unnoticed and unsure. Then one day, she walked through the doors of biology class. Rachel Adams, the girl everyone admired but no one dared to approach. Rachel had this way about her, a confidence, a kindness. She was the dream, untouchable, unattainable, but oh, how he dreamed. Years passed, Michael changed, he worked on himself, built a career, and grew into a confident young man. And then fate brought them together again at a friend's party. To his shock, she remembered him. Rachel, the girl he'd only admired from afar, now stood before him with a smile. "Michael, right? From bio class?" she asked. His heart raced. "Yeah, Rachel, it's been a while," he managed to say. From that moment, the connection was electric. They talked for hours that night, laughing over shared memories, connecting like old friends. And by the end of it, she handed him her number with that same smile he remembered. To Michael, it felt like fate. They started dating soon after. For 2 whole years, Michael was on top of the world. Rachel became his everything. Their love wasn't a fast-burning flame, but a slow, steady fire, one he believed would last forever. But as they entered their 3rd year, something shifted. Michael felt it. The warmth faded, the laughter grew scarce. The girl he once thought he'd spend forever with, she started to feel like a stranger. Now he sits, alone with memories of the girl he thought he knew, wondering where it all went wrong. Rachel started pulling away. The late-night talks, the constant texts, they slowly disappeared. Michael noticed it first in the small things. The excuses, the way she'd cancel plans, saying she was busy with work or spending time with friends. And it wasn't just any friends, it was this new group from work, particularly a few guys she'd just met. Every time Michael brought it up, she'd sigh and shake her head. "You're being paranoid," she'd say, her voice full of frustration. "They're just friends." But the doubt was there. The Rachel he knew, she was slipping away, and he was helpless to stop it. He told himself he was overthinking, that it was just a phase, that maybe work stress was taking its toll. But deep down, something felt wrong. Then one night, his worst fears came true. A message came in, a photo sent by a mutual friend. It was Rachel, out with another guy, and they were holding hands. In that moment, his world shattered. He confronted her the next day, his voice trembling, his heart racing. "Rachel, what's going on? Who is he?" Her eyes widened, but she didn't deny it. Instead, she looked away, crossing her arms. "Michael, I didn't want you to find out like this." It felt like a punch to the gut. This was the woman he'd poured his heart into, dreamed of since high school. His voice cracked as he asked the question that haunted him. "Are you in love with him?" Rachel didn't answer right away. When she finally did, her voice was barely a whisper. I don't know. That night, he sat alone in his car, staring at her house, feeling broken. He couldn't understand how had things gone so wrong. What had he done to deserve this? In a final desperate plea, he knocked on her door, his voice raw. "Rachel, please, we can fix this. I love you. Don't do this. Let's work it out." But her response was cold. Her once warm eyes were now distant. "It's over, Michael. I've moved on." As she closed the door, those words echoed in his mind. It's over. And for Michael, everything he'd believed about love was gone. For weeks, Michael couldn't function. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, because every time he closed his eyes, he saw her with someone else. The betrayal consumed him, and he felt like a fool, a man who'd believed too much in love only to have it tear him apart. His friends tried to be there, but nothing they said could ease the pain. One evening, after breaking down in front of them, Michael made a vow, just 2 words: never again. He would never let himself be hurt by another woman. The transformation was slow, but it was undeniable. The kind, hopeful man they once knew began to change. No longer did he seek deep connections. Instead, Michael became the very thing he once despised, a player. He learned the words, the moves, the tricks, but no one ever got close. To them, he was just a fun distraction, a good time. And to him, that's all he wanted to be. His phone filled up with numbers, his nights spent in bars with woman after woman. And as the months passed, the emptiness in his heart became easier to ignore. Love had betrayed him. Now, he was in control. His friends saw it too. Some admired his confidence, others were worried. They didn't know the full depth of his pain, the scars from betrayal that had hardened his heart. One night, as Michael was flirting with someone he knew he'd never see again, his closest friend pulled him aside. "Man, what happened to you? You were one of the good guys. Now you're different." Michael just shrugged, a hint of bitterness in his voice. "Good guys get hurt, good guys get played. I'm done being a good guy." His friend sighed. "Not every woman is like her, you know. Not every relationship ends in betrayal." But Michael wasn't ready to listen. In his mind, women could no longer be trusted. Love was a fool's game. Why be the one who gets hurt when you can be the one who leaves first? As he finished his drink, Michael thought back to the boy he once was. The boy who believed in love, in forever. That boy was gone. In his place was a man who had learned the harsh reality of life. Good men don't become players because they want to. They become players because they've been burned so deeply that trust becomes impossible. They protect themselves by never getting too close, by learning to play the game so they're in control. Anything just to avoid being left broken again, crying on a doorstep in the middle of the night. As the years passed, this belief only grew stronger in Michael. To him, love was a risk he couldn't take anymore. The night stretched on, and once again he found himself alone. The woman he'd been talking to, she was long gone, but it didn't matter. For Michael, nothing really mattered anymore, not the way it once did. And as he left, one final thought echoed in his mind, a thought simple but painfully true. Good men become players because love leaves them no choice.